I am coming before you today with a word, not exactly from the Bible, but we're going to see what's going on in this time, in this day and age. Trump has called this the golden age of America. So I want you to stay tuned and listen to what I'm about to say. I might not say everything that I need to say in this video. I don't know. We're going to see. But we're going to dive into it. And we're going to talk about what Trump has said in his speech that he delivered. And let's talk about the inferences that we can draw from it. Some concerns about what that might mean for America. And it's either vulnerability or strength. So we're going to just kind of dive deep into this. It's not a devotional, y'all. This talk, because some things need to be said. Far too long are the days where we just don't say anything at all. Okay? Because even in his speech, he spoke of our freedom. Everybody wants to know if they're going to be free. Everybody wants to know if freedom is even possibility. Okay? Because of the fact that, some people are like bogged down with the 9 to 5. They are going to work day after day to survive, to feed their families, to do everything. So it's important. You need to know, like, what is the state of the economy? What's the state of things that are going on? Like, and what to do about it. How to proceed, how to walk in this life, how to prepare your family for anything. So that's kind of the essence of the Ready Bride, because the Ready Bride seeks to be a prepared entity for the cause of Christ. Okay. Yeah. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I know it's early. People are probably not going to be tuning in, but I'm gonna ask that you really listen to this carefully when I go ahead and, hey Milagros, Gil, I'm cool, VR, and Charleston White. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're talking about what Trump said in his speech. He said he wants to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. Proud, prosperous, and free. So he's trying to end the whole fact that people are living in fear, living in poverty, and living in bondage. Slaves, to what? What are we slaves for? Yes, I'm cool, VR. Tell me, what are we slaves? Why do we need to seek freedom? What freedom is Trump talking about? Tell me. I'm going to wait, because I want this to be a dialogue between us to know that there's some things that have been said and we need to act on it. Yeah, they use people. People are being used. People are definitely being used. Okay? People are being exploited. Who's lazy? I heard I'm cool, VR. You said so they be lazy. Okay, so the rich are being lazy? Or people in business are being lazy? What? Who's being lazy? All right, Cooch. I know you've hardened up a storm. That is not really appropriate for this forum right now. Yeah, the rich is lazy. Okay, I got you. I get it. But the rich are saying what? What are they saying exactly? They're saying, okay, they're raising up robots, neural links to kind of control people. They're exploiting people, right? Elon Musk and their hidden agenda, which is really hidden in plain sight, is there to, bring about a shift in how people are being used and exploited. To be honest with you, they're talking about like a universal basic income, right? I don't know about bringing back Barack Obama, but because we just need to talk about what's here right now, because it's not, it makes no sense, and it really doesn't even help to talk about bringing back Barack Obama. We need to talk about what's happening right now and what you as a people are doing about it, right? Or can do about it. Not that we're, long gone are the days we're just, willy-nilly going through life, just allowing things to happen. Because Trump has said some things, and one of those things is being free. What does freedom mean to you? How can you be free? You know what I'm saying? The poor are not lazy. They try to every day to get at least some money to feed their families. Yes, that's true. And so that's true that everybody's trying to get money to feed their families. And we're being exploited because now we have to go work a 9 to 5 every single day and not really put a dent in it, because why are we going through this life having to work just to eat? That goes against the Bible. He says freely you have been given, freely give. The food that grows out the ground is free. And then they turn around, they gather it up, and then they what? The animals, they grow and they're born and they are freely given by our Creator. And then they turn around, they kill them, they chop it up, and they give it to the people for a price. I'm saying this, if we're going to be free, we need to stand up for what we need to be free. We need food to be free. Because we should not have to work to eat. If you want to work, maybe work to build something or be in business or to drive a nice fancy car or something to that nature. But you should not have to work to eat, to work to live. You understand what I'm saying? Those basic things, to work, to have, clothes on your back. Yeah, if you want nice fancy clothes, you want the latest shoes and designer outfits, yeah, okay. That's okay, but it's not fair to the citizens of America for us to have to work so hard. Yes, food should be free for real. Yes. Everybody should eat for free. I'm just saying, you should not, in order for you to live, what? If you don't work, you don't eat? That's BS. It does not work that way. You should not, because we didn't ask to come here, number one. When we were born, we didn't, that was our parents. Our parents are supposed to make sure that we are maintaining this life, but they are under duress themselves trying to work to feed us. So it's a vicious cycle. Right? Building a business costs so much money. Yeah, building a business costs so much money. You can't even hardly build a business without a whole bunch of capital. That's very true. It's very true. You can't, it's hard these days to even get ahead. You trying to get ahead and okay, now they're going to tax you as a business. They're going to tax you. And basically, especially if you're not making enough, they're gonna tax you even on that. They say there's tax benefits, but it's really, really, really not. There's no benefit. Free phones, free Wi-Fi. Yep. Free phones and free Wi-Fi. Everything should be free. We need to be free. So we need to hold Trump to his words. Freedom of speech and also freedom to live. Like, we should not have to work to eat. That is slavery. That is slavery. So he also talked about giving people back their faith. So we got to hold these words to be true and enforce them as the people. Building a business is big risk too. Right. Yep. It's hard in small businesses. I get it. But he talked about give people back their faith. So, freedom of religion, freedom to do and serve the God of their choice. He talks a lot about this choice in his speech. He said he wants, in MLK's honor, Martin Luther King Jr.'s honor, they're going to strive to make his dream come true. Okay, that's what was said in the speech, that he's going to try to make his dream come true. What was his dream? That people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Amen. And we will not forget our God. I was amazed when Trump said that. He said we will not forget our God. In God we trust. If you saw one of my past the shorts I put on there, there was a little meme talking about when is America going to actually live by the thing that's put on paper, the land of the free, the ability to go for life, pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We got to hold them to the fire and keep them accountable for the words that are spoken. The president has spoken. Right. He said we're going to make America great again. But actually, we need to make America great once and for all. That's how I see it. We need to make it great once and for all, because it wasn't so great because they put out a proclamation, but people are not living by it. People are not living free. And then America's government is not enforcing the freedom that they claim that we have. They're fighting for other social justices that have nothing to do with what the Constitution said in the beginning. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk another thing. He said remain in Mexico policy. So he talked about keeping Mexicans in Mexico. Let them stay where they're at. Closing the borders. What does that mean for us as a people? What does it mean if he starts making borders so that immigrants can't just come however they want? There's good and bad in this. There is an opportunity to maintain the strength of our country, of our nation. Keep the people are in here, they let us stay in here. People that are out, they need to, if they want to be a part of this nation, besides just visiting, they need to show forth patriotism, do the things that it requires to be an American citizen. And I mean, those boundaries are safe. I believe that those boundaries are safe. The boundary to, be in a country and live by standards makes sense. There's no other way to say it. Having boundaries is what makes um a united people strong. That's it. That's what makes a united people strong, is having boundaries, is having a precedence, that, and um having the wherewithal to understand that, their constraints are necessary. Constraints are necessary. Let's see what Pico say. Borders have been established for hundreds of years, and 67% of immigrants come over on planes with a work visa and overstay their expert. Yes, they do. Also, can personally pass a civics test. Also, can you personally pass a civics test? Well, if they don't even speak the language, how they gonna pass a civics test? Yeah, how you gonna pass a civics test? Immigrants do come over with visas. They come over with work visas. Why? Because we're not enforcing for them to go back when they're supposed to go back. We lose accountability. We've lost accountability of the people that we allow to come over under certain conditions, and we kind of like lose track. Something is happening. There is a huge disconnect. If people are supposed to be, if we're supposed to be living free and safe and in safety, we definitely need to have people enforcing the right things. They pay taxes too. Yeah, but I'm about to get into that. I'm about to get into the tax piece because Trump said a very big statement in his speech. A very, very big statement, and it actually is biblical. That's the crazy part. Okay? Immigrants are great for the economy. Yeah, in a way they are great for the economy, because if they're coming in and they're paying into tax and they're working, that makes sense. But I don't think that's what Trump is talking about. He's talking about those people are anti-Semitic, that are saying all these things, and they're trying to sympathize with the Hamas community. Those type of people that are coming over and they're protesting and doing all that stuff, he wants to put an end to that. Okay? So some immigrants are not all good immigrants. So the good immigrants are the ones that's coming over trying to do better for themselves. Yes, but there is a group of people, a group of immigrants that are not for the not good for the American economy. So that's what he's talking about, and that's what he's trying to crack down on. So sometimes people don't listen to all the words that the president says. You have to listen to everything that they say. You have to listen to every word. You have to understand what the implications of what he's doing is. And I listened to it like 4 or 5 times, because it was on loop on a live, and I listened to it and I took notes. And so that's what we need to do as a people. He said, my people perish. The word of God says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Sometimes you got to study to show yourself approved and not be ashamed. I don't come on my soapbox because I just want to just talk out of the top of my head. No, I speak from a Bible-based believing stance, and then also listen to the president and the government and what they are promoting as goodwill for all the people. Bye, I'm cool VR. Talk to you later. Okay, come to my other lives, because we're gonna talk about it, and then you can always listen to it on the rebroadcast as well. All right, so I'm telling you, like, we have to be students of what's going on in our society and how it's affecting us and our children and our children's children. Because and that's my next book, actually. Every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God has an origin and a consequence, and everything will be fulfilled. What Jesus did that was just like kind of like the beginning. Even though he said it is finished, that part was finished. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing. Cartel. He said that the cartel, this is a foreign terrorist organization. So anybody's in a cartel, they're going to be considered the enemy. Okay, and that's right. We need to establish who is on our side and who's not on our side. That's simple. I think that's simple to understand. Who's with us and who's against us? Who's for us and who's not for us? And so that's why he has the Alien Enemies Act. So it's going to allow the government and the armies, the armed forces, to enforce these things. And that's what we need. We need to establish who's with us, who's not with us, and really make sure that everything that was said is being protected. And that's really what the government is supposed to do, is to protect what was said, the freedoms that we hold. Okay, so he also talked about, just getting an opportunity to have everything within our nation to be self-sufficient. He didn't say self-sufficient, but to me, what he was saying is we need to have our own stuff. We need to stand up on our own 2 feet as a nation, as Americans. And that's the only way that we're going to be strengthened with unity, is if we stand up on our own 2 feet and become the manufacturing nation. He said, a manufacturing nation. That means we make our own stuff. So over time, I imagine that we're going to be at a place where, okay, we make our own clothes, we make our own shoes, we make our own manufacturing plants that manufacture everything, that we need. All our household goods manufactured and made in America. So I want to see where it says made in America. Don't you? Tell me, don't you want to see everything that says made in America instead of made in China, or made in Mexico, or made in Chile, or made in Panama, or made in Taiwan, or made in this, or made in that? America doesn't make anything, right? Ernest read, Trump is not for anyone but himself, and that's my opinion. Okay, that is, you're entitled to your opinion. And that's the one thing that he's saying, that he is giving us back freedom of speech. So we can say what we want to say, and we are allowed to have an opinion about any matter, about anything. If you listen to his speech very well, he makes it very, very clear that he wants us to have free speech. He wants to take back the things like having prayer in our schools, like doing the things that we want as a nation. He heard the people, and he's saying those things in his speech. You got to listen to his speech very, very clearly and hold his feet to the fire. We have to hold the feet to the fire to make sure that what he said is accomplished. Okay. He wanted to bring the prices down. Okay, so let's bring the prices down. Actually, like I was saying earlier, our food should be free. There are certain things that people need to survive need to be free. Okay. and I'm also tempted to say, people need a place to live. Nobody should be homeless. What they're talking about as far as providing for the homeless is doing this universal basic income, to give them a certain amount of money so that they can pay for it. But if capitalism still exists, and capitalism is saying, oh, we're going to jack up the prices and you can't even afford it, what's the point? what's the point? So this universal basic income has got to come to a point where it allows people to live without being in duress. Okay, without having to work so hard to just eat or live or survive. Now he's talking about digging, the drilling. I don't quite agree with the drilling. That is a concern of mine. You know, when we degrade our very foundation, yeah, you digging for gold and you digging for oil and all that stuff to be a sovereign nation, but then you put us at risk. Earthquakes and different things that happen to the earth because of the degradation of it. That's just not going to work. So we need to figure something out. We need to figure out something that is safe for the entire nation. Because if the word of God says there's going to be earthquake in diverse nations, I think that there's something that causes it. There is a cause and effect. So take it as you will, but I think that doing all this drilling, not necessarily a safe thing. So there needs to be constraints with that as well. That's just my take on that part of his speech. Then he's saying to export American energy. Okay, that's fine. So now, if we are self-sufficient as a nation and we go ahead and give out energy, which kind of crazy, then that's supposed to be profitable for the nation. He's trying to make things profitable for the country. And also, he wants to end the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal is some kind of mandate, and I didn't even know this was even a thing. Some kind of mandate that makes them have to what's profitable for big business. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you're right. That's exactly what it is. That's why I'm concerned about the fracking and doing the manufacturing and the exporting of energy, all that stuff. Yes, profitable for big. It is. Yeah, I said it's profitable for the nation, but yeah, it is profitable for big business as a whole. So that's concerning because we have to think about what is the motivation behind that. But yeah, this mandate, the Green New Deal, is supposed to be where I think he was, he didn't really state in detail what it was, but I feel it's like, okay, you have to choose to buy a electric car. You have to get an electric car or you're not allowed to drive. Something to that effect, right? Whatever the Green New Deal was, he wants to put an end to it. And he was saying you'll be able to purchase. All right, sorry about that. I had an alarm set, so it went off. Okay, so the next thing he said, so he's ending the Green New Deal. Then he talked about the tariff and the taxes. All right, so you remember the IRS? Immigrants are leaving. Okay, well, immigrants can leave. That's fine. And yeah, I'll talk about that again later. But the ERS, the IRS is the Internal Revenue System. That means getting the revenue from the people, taxpayers, right? So he is enacting External Revenue Service. And this is where, do I like Trump? I'm just stating the facts about what Trump has said. It's not about liking him. It's about understanding what he stands for and what he brings for the people. And the views that he has and the things that he said and the things that he's writing executive orders for matter. And they are important to our livelihood. And this in this day and age, and for our children and children's children. So it's important. What he's saying is important. So I'm not going to claim to like him or dislike him. Okay. He said, I mean, whatever he said he's going to do, he did it before. That's true. And so that's why it's important to note what he said, because he usually does what he said he's going to do. Usually it gets done. So that's one thing that we can say about this president, is that he usually kind of backs up his words. So, and a lot of the words that he is saying is good. All right. They do matter. They are wrong. Not all of it is wrong, but they do matter. And not all of it is wrong, Nicholas Diaz, because we do need to be free, right? We do need to be prosperous. We do need to be proud to be American and not under duress, not fighting for our own lives by having to, work so hard for pennies. Maybe we need to either raise the minimum wage. Come on, we haven't even raised the minimum wage for like how long? And then people are just struggling. People are just struggling. But anyway, let me go back to this ERS business. Duties from foreign sources. Duties from foreign sources. So now the taxes, he's trying to implement an ERS system, external revenue system, that makes it so that people from the outside have to pay. Yeah, I don't know if he claimed to be the coming of Jesus, but I know he said that him surviving the assassination attempt was miraculous and God ordained. Everybody can have an opinion on that, and that's not really what I'm here to talk about. If he said he claimed to be Jesus, I didn't hear it from him, so I don't know. I can't really speak on that. I'm just talking about what I heard from his very mouth in his speech, okay? So, duties from foreign sources. I want to tell you that when they were setting up the church, they were setting up people of God, the children of Israel, they did set up the taxes. All of these things that he's saying is biblical. So you have to do the research yourself. I can do the research and put it out in another video, but it is from the Bible. People from the outside paid to the nation, okay, to the people inside. So this kind of makes sense. If you want to import stuff, you pay in taxes. So the revenue is not going to come from us. The revenue is going to come from outside. If people want to do business with America, they pay. That's basically the idea or the notion that is coming from this ERS agenda. Okay, so the Department of Government, he's starting a new department, the Government of Efficiencies. Okay, basically, he's going to stop government censorship. Government censorship basically says, okay, we're going to watch everything you say, or we're going to listen to everything you say, and we're going to block anything that we don't want to be out there or heard or put out there. Yeah. So stopping government censorship is important to the nations. You want to be heard. You want whatever you say to bear weight, if it's just. And that's another thing he talked about is having a fair, impartial, equal justice system. You know that it has not always been fair. And one of the things that I have experienced in my own life of the injustice is that you go in, say you petition for something that has been wrong, wrongly done to you, and then that person that you are fighting up against, that you're petitioning against, they don't see any type of repercussions because you're fighting as an individual versus, oh, well, if you got money, you got a lawyer, guess what? The likelihood of your case being heard and given any kind of respect is higher than someone who is a pro se litigant. So a pro se litigant is somebody who is acting on their own, being basically their own attorney. So there's no equality there. It's a very unequal playing field. People who are trying to, seek justice are not finding justice in the justice system just because they don't have the money or the resources to petition. So that we have to put the feet to the fire. If you're going to say these great, grandiose words of justice and restoring fair and equal justice, we need some backup. We need something to back this up. So I'm looking forward to finding out what type of acts and legislation that he's going to put in place to really enforce these things that he is saying. Okay. He wants to forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. These are words of Dr. Martin Luther King. Okay? So he's trying to win the popularity, or he's trying to win the side of the people of color and minorities. Okay? Thank you. Finally, someone with open mind. The BS that people come out with is just so ridiculous because I don't see many people, if any, criticizing the previous government and what they did to all. Yes, that's true. Thank you, Nuno Friera, for your comment, because it's important that we hold them accountable. Hold the words of the president accountable. If he's going to say all these great grandiose words, we have to actually see this working for the people. Okay. So he says he wants America's decline to be over. Okay. He made a big bold claim that the decline of America is over. If this ERS system works, we can probably start knocking down our national debt, right? He's trying to take down some of these, and some people don't like the fact that he's taking away of like things like affirmative action type not government, but like those departments, right? He's trying to take down some of those departments, and they don't like that. They don't like that. But what it does, you tell me, what do you think it does if we don't have just people? How are you going to make an impartial assessment of someone by their color or where they came from, but by what? By their merit. So they went to school and they got their degree, but they're Indian. Do you mean you're not gonna hire them, or you are gonna hire them just because they're Indian? You need affirmative action says we're going to hire you because of the color of your skin. Right? We need a certain amount of this nationality. We need a certain amount of this nationality to make our employment force. Now, there's two ways to look at it. There's two ways to look at it. You can look at it from the standpoint of, now people in power or people that are owners of these companies and businesses, they can not hire blacks, or they can not hire Indians, or they can not hire Mexicans, or they can just not hire because of the color of their skin. But then you have, on the other hand, where like now people that are of color, they have the same opportunity the barrier of entry are knocked down. Okay? You can build your own business. You can start your own business. You have the freedom. The platform is set up so that people are not just brought on because of the color of skin. This is part of the agenda to have a colorblind society. It's like a double-edged sword. You have to understand the difference between saying, okay, you're not going to hire a person just because they're black. You're going to look at what they did in their life, what kind of attributes they have, what kind of experience they have. Let it be merit based on merit, what they have, what can they bring to the table, as opposed to having to hire them because they're black, or having to hire them because you got to fill a slot. That's what affirmative action does. It makes them, or forces companies to hire not based on merit, but by certain racial or national ethnic standards. You have to have so many Hispanics. You have to have so many this or that nation. Affirmative action does that. And getting rid of that is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay? So that's all I have to really say on that. I think it really helps to drive the idea home that it's not just what you look like, but it's what you've done as a person to whatever you've achieved, so that you can do the things that you went to school for, that you study for, that you have that you are looked at for your worth as a person, not based on what you look like. Anyway, I'll leave that alone. Now, he wants to leave a legacy. This is Trump. This is what he said. He wants to leave a legacy that he's a peacemaker and a unifier. Those are some big words, y'all. He wants to be known as a peacemaker and a unifier. We're going to see how that holds up. He got 4 years to figure it out and leave a legacy of being a peacemaker and unifier. I've seen people pray over him. I've seen the people come together to pray over the president. Now, if you call yourself a Christian and you believe that, hey, if Saul used to persecute the church, he used to sit and watch. He watched them kill some of the disciples and the followers and the prophets. Hey, if he could change, if Paul could change and write 2/3 of the New Testament, why can't Trump also be converted and change and do right by the people and really live for God? I don't see why that's not. If he really is trying to be a peacemaker, let him be a peacemaker. Hold him to his word. Let us hold him to his word. Okay. Now, the whole changing the name to Gulf of America, I don't know. Not everyone wants to get a higher education. Okay, well then you won't be qualified for certain jobs. It's okay if you don't want a higher education, but higher education just allows you to say that you are expert in a certain subject or field. You don't have to. You don't have to have a higher education for certain jobs. I mean, that's just the bottom line of it. And that's okay. All right, so 3 nations that Trump has talked about in his speech. And those can create foes towards our nation. So listen, Panama. Whatever this Panama Canal is, that they say that China has been operating the Panama Canal, and he's trying to take it back. Taking back anything can cause what? An uproar. If there's not agreement, right? If whoever is in charge of the Panama Canal, namely China, then that means we have to think that, hey, I think that there is a potential for war. There's a potential for kickback. Like, hey, if China want to keep operating Panama Canal, what's going to happen? How do we come and bring this on the table? Oh, okay. Yeah. So they also talk about free education. So education is another paradigm that should be free. And a lot of it is. It's really based on what you want. But anyway, let me get back to the three potential foes of the United States. So Panama, this Panama Canal, they say China is operating it, and they want to take it back, the United States. But when did the U.S. actually have control over the Panama Canal? And why is it important to have it back? Okay. And talked about Mexico. Mexico is another potential foe. Why? Because they're trying to put borders and keep them out. They're saying, hey, stay in Mexico. They're saying stay in Mexico. They want to create a secure borders. And so just be mindful of the fact that there's a potential for us to have enemies, right? And you know, things happen when you have an enemy. War can ensue. He makes this big bold claim that he doesn't want the best things are when the wars that have not actually ensued, but when you make boundaries, there's a likelihood that there's going to be people that do not agree. Okay, people that do not agree can try to enforce by action, and the violent take it by force. Okay, so hopefully we're not in a place of violence, because you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Let's see. Plant the stars and stripes on Mars. Oh my gosh. Okay, so he wants to put the American flag on Mars. To me, that's a waste of money. Like, what's the point in that? Like, really, why are we going through great lengths to go to a place that we can't even inhabit, that we don't really need to inhabit? Like, that's putting dollars that don't need to be spent. Cash and Cadre, you said the U.S. built the canal, and ran it up till the early. Okay, did you do any research before you talk? No, I did not do the research. That's why I asked the question. That is why I asked the question: how long, or when did we run the canal? So apparently it's important, but why it's important, I couldn't tell you. Why it's important for them to have the Panama Canal in the U.S.'s charge. So I'm just stating that because of this control that China has over the Panama Canal, and America trying to get it back, that can cause problems, or that can cause a war. So the potential is there for there to be strife and contention. If you want to be a peacemaker, you might want to think about how you go about trying to get the Panama Canal back in American control. Just saying. And then I don't really have to know all the ins and outs of like when they were in control. We just need to know why we need to have control back. If you can answer that, it's probably not in the paperwork or the document. Okay. All right. So we're on this journey to reclaim America, he says. America's sovereignty, America as a nation. Yeah. Hopefully we're going to rebuild this nation under God. That is my hope, my prayer. That we understand that we get religious freedoms. We get the freedom to do the things and to live freely as God would want. Okay. The law of liberty is set for us to be free. So let us be free. All right, y'all. I'm sorry, but my my phone died, to be honest with you. I was able to resume the live, but I was really at the conclusion of the live anyway. So, but I just wanted to jump on here and say thank you for tuning in to this talk about what Trump said. I do want to follow up with the biblical implications of what Trump said, but I'm going to take my time and do the due diligence to really give it to you verbatim from the Word of God. I don't want to just talk out the top of my head. Okay, so that is that is why I came back on, just to let you know that there will be a subsequent talk on this Trump speech. And because it says a lot. It says a lot about what our nation can look forward to, and possibly consequentially, face. Because we don't know exactly what will happen if people don't agree with this proclamation, right? That is one of the things that even what happened when Martin Luther King, he said what he said. He had a dream, and because he had a dream, everybody didn't agree with his dream. Okay? Even with desegregation, everybody did not believe in desegregation. When that little girl went into that place, the first black girl that went into the school to desegregate this divided construct of school and education, those parents went right behind her and say, hey, we don't want our kids to be learned up with these Negroes. So they took their children out of the school. So you got to understand that not everybody's going to agree with Trump. He said a lot. He said a mouthful. So that is why it's so important to continue to pray for the president. Pray for the things that he has said. Pray for our nation. And just pray, just continually be in prayer. Okay? I want to thank you so much for tuning in to Stacey Lulu's channel. I hope that you will tune in again when you see me come on live. If you need to actually have your notifications on in order to do that, in order to know when I'm on live. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and so that you can tune in to the next live, because I will have a follow-up on the biblical implications of Trump's speech. Okay. All right. Thank you again. We'll see you next time. Go in grace.